and welcome to my weekly video blog, and today on A Vogel Talks Menopause I'm going to be talking about the symptoms you can feel after a hot flush. If you like my tips and advice, then please subscribe and remember to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of all my new videos. Very often we know the majority of women experience hot flushes and night sweats, but for quite a big number of women, they get some kind of experience straight after the hot flush or the sweat, and this can feel quite strange. So what I thought I would do today is look at some of the 6 surprising things you can feel after a flush or a sweat, why these can happen and what you can do to help yourself with them. So number 1 is that after a hot flush or a sweat, you can suddenly feel very cold, almost to the point where you're shivering. This is a really common response. When estrogen starts to fall, it can affect the way or interfere with the way in which your body regulates its temperature. So your body starts to think it's hotter than what it really is, and that will trigger a sudden rush of blood to the skin to cool you down. But especially if you sweat or you get a real severe hot flush, the moisture from the skin will start to evaporate, and that's what cools you down. But for some women, this can be an exaggerated response, and you suddenly find that you get really cold and really shivery. This is one of the ones where the only thing you can really do here is maybe try to minimize the severity of the hot flushes and the sweats, and I'll tell you about that later. Number 2 is you can feel really tired. It's almost like you get hit with a sudden wave of fatigue after a hot flush or a sweat. This is very often due to adrenaline. Some of the hot flushes and sweats are not necessarily caused by the hormones themselves, but by the way your nervous system is responding to everything that's going on in your life. So if your nervous system suddenly goes into panic mode, that can trigger adrenaline, which will then trigger the flush or the sweat. And that sudden rush of adrenaline, as it starts to subside, can cause fatigue. Number 3 is you can feel very emotional and weepy after a hot flush or a sweat. This is very often due to a sudden dip in your blood sugar levels. So when your blood sugar levels dip really quickly, then that can result in the nervous system going into a panic, and that will then trigger the flush or the sweat. And also low blood sugars can make you feel quite either emotional, weepy, or irritated too. And very often you find that you need to crave something really sweet just to help you to feel that little bit better. Number 4 is palpitations. Some women find that either just before or during or straight after the hot flush, you feel as if your heart's really racing. Again, this one tends to be due to an adrenaline rush. Number 5 is nausea. Some women find that they can start to feel sick during or after a hot flush or a sweat. This can be due to 2 things. It can be due to the sudden dip in your blood sugar levels. That can make you feel quite sick sometimes. Or it could also be due to an adrenaline rush as well, causing the nausea. And number 6 is the craving sugar. So again, that can be very much due to your blood sugar levels suddenly dipping. It can also be due to flight or fight. So if you're in a panicky mode, if you're suffering from a lot of anxiety or stress, that in itself can trigger a hot flush or a sweat. And that can also lead to craving sugar, mainly sweet things, sort of biscuits, cakes, maybe chocolate by itself. So how to ease these ones? Try and know your triggers. And I have talked about this before, doing a diary hot flush sweat diary can be really helpful, because if you are getting the low blood sugar reasons, then it can be due to the fact that you haven't eaten for a while. It could be due to the fact that you've had a cup of coffee, or you've already eaten something really sweet. All these things can raise your blood sugar levels up really quickly, and you will suddenly get a big dip afterwards, and it's that can cause the sweat or the hot flush. So watch the stress, maybe look at our lovely Passiflora range. We've got tincture, we've got tablets. We've also got a spray, which is really handy if you find that you tend to get stressed and emotional on the go. Then this is something you can just spray straight onto your tongue. You can look at the herb sage. This is known to help to decrease the amount and also the severity of hot flushes and sweats. And remember the water, because dehydration will also affect your blood sugar levels very quickly. Dehydration will also affect your nervous system too. So keeping your water and your hydration up can help with the hot flushes and all of these symptoms that may come afterwards. So I hope you found this one helpful. If any of you have experienced anything else, then please share. We would love to hear about it, and also how you managed to help yourself. That would be great. So until then, I'll see you next week for another edition of A. Vogel Talks Menopause.